Mr. Chaplain, can we have a prayer?
First, Father, we thank you for your loving kindness, your mercy, your grace. Thank you, Father, for your forgiveness, your patience, your justice. And Lord, we just thank you for your provisions for this community. We thank you for the leadership you provided. I ask that you would lead, guide, and direct them in paths of righteousness for your name's sake. Help them, Father, as they are stewards of our resources in this community, to make decisions that are equitable and just. And God, again, your blessings rest upon this session in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Congratulations on your new church, by the way.
Say what?
Congratulations on your new church.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, I'm gonna go over the agenda items first. Looks like we have declaring city property surplus. I think everything on the Bluebell purchasing the property on 4th Street's a go. We've checked all that. That's what that's about. Approving special fund budgets. Public hearings, setting public hearing dates for zoning issues. We're gonna appoint to the Historical Commission, CDA, and Park and Rec tonight. And we have a reappointment to the Housing Authority by the mayor, and also liquor licensing, payroll, and such. So nothing too special tonight. We'll get relatively short. We have some add items that we'll discuss that will be about declaring resolutions that the retirement benefits and such that we had been going over and over. So all we did was clarify and clean up the current resolution that one of the problems was RSA didn't have a clear or any definition of continuing service. So we declared that in the new resolution.
Thank you.
For continuing service. And the new resolution is going to clarify, this only applies to employees that if retired after January 1. I say that correct, Wynn?
Yes, and it also verifies that all the benefits that current retirees have not gone away.
Yes.
So it gets it back to where it needs to be.
Okay. So that's going to be an add item, travel and training for all the firemen. And I said it last meeting, but congrats, Nate, on the new baby. So we'll go into, I sort of kind of introduced the sales tax increase proposition last meeting, and we still have to wait. I've been having trouble getting in touch here. I mean, part on my fault too for being so busy, but the tax attorney talking about the additional taxes, not just sales tax, but the whole resolution includes machinery tax that these industries purchase and auto and vending tax. So we have to talk about whether to raise those or leave those alone, and they're minuscule at most right now. There's a sheet in your packet that tells you the current rate of like 0.75 for machinery, 1.25 for auto, farming equipment is 7.75, and vending is 3%. So that's stuff we have to talk about, either leaving alone, making it reflect the 1.5 increase in sales tax, or adjust it accordingly another percentage. So we'll have to talk about that and include those in the new resolution going forward. So it's a relatively simple process, but we have to agree on those numbers first. And my thought, looking at you got this right here in your packets. It shows you everything. There's also on the back the statewide, a lot of the municipalities in the state do compared to us. So, raising it 0.25% or something really doesn't do much. So we either want, in my mind, I'm thinking match the 1.2 with the 1.5 or leave it alone for the farming, auto, and all this listed here, machinery. I don't know what y'all's thoughts are on that. I need something to go back and tell tax attorneys and stuff, this is what we're thinking about doing.
We can do it. We can send it to me to to repair, so.
Mhm.
Just based on the numbers that y'all wish to increase, and he has included a proportionate rate based on your current rate going to the 4.5% based, you know, he's done a proportionate rate to those other areas.
So adding 1.5 to the other ones, just like we did sales tax.
The-
Well,
proportionate.
No, the proportion, based on that proportion going up.
Okay. So that's, if you look on that far column, that's what they were kind of recommending, so we could do that, leave alone, or something else. You know, if we're gonna be proportionate about it across the board, we can just go with that proportionate rate. And have everything plugged in like that.
I've got it. Why didn't he, why is some of them blank?
That's the new rate, like if we were to pick something off the wall to increase it by.
It's up
Cause
to
we
you.
haven't talked about it with him. And then the use tax would be out-of-state purchasing, bringing it back, that's.
Those would be the same amounts.
Okay, so that would be the same if we did it for in-state versus out-of-state. So, are y'all thinking proportionate to reflect that? It would be easiest in my mind.
Consistent, that's the key.
It does keep it consistent, and you do not increase your sales tax, but every, gosh,
It's been 20-something years.
well, since 2018 and prior to then was about 20-something years, so
Mhm.
your rates are not increased that often.
Yeah.
So, do you want to increase these while you're increasing the sales tax rate?
I would say proportionate would be my opinion, to be easiest, consistent across the board, it's the same.
Got it.
Cool. We have a proposed change to the educational policy, step raise policy. Was that what you were trying to hand me, Kathy? I'm sorry, I was talking. She's got some hard copies of it.
Look at you go, girl.
And Mayor, I was talking, I think Wynn talked to you a little bit, but I was curious, not only this policy, but any policy we do, can we require the department heads to get their employees to sign off on it, like a sign-in sheet or something stating that they,
Make sure we don't wind up with issues. we
right,
have in the
just
past.
cover us.
Pretty good idea.
I mean, I had to do that at Bluebell, so figured it'd be best.
Make sure Laura gets hers too.
There should be one for him as well.
Miss Kim, you got one?
Has Laura got one?
You need a
Give
copy.
I'll add one.
Give that one to Wynn.
Readers.
Yeah, so, I've read over it some, and I know a couple of you have, so what are the pros and cons issues that we have here? Let's get on to
I
it.
have great difficulty with the concept of any before hire because we knew all of that and took that into consideration when we hired people. It should be something that's earned during employment with the city. There's also not a definition of specifically what certifications, we need to narrow that so that, that somebody can't get an award for a Boy Scout badge retroactively or earning Boy Scout, even in city employee. Otherwise, it makes sense.
That's my thing, as long as it's pertaining to their job duties or what we hired them to do, I don't have a problem with it,
Mhm.
but it's kinda like,
Gotta be in their realm of what
yeah,
they're doing.
like if we, you know what you do, you're an
Mhm.
appraisal,
Mhm.
but if I hire you to be a nurse, I don't wanna pay you for being an appraisal.
Yeah,
But again, before hire, we'll find a line of people wanting extra pay raises based on things they forgot to disclose when they interviewed or when they started with the city, and it's opening a can of worms.
But sometimes, like, even if it's before, it could be, based on, I guess it's kinda
We
like how
amend
they,
and change all the time.
how they prove their experience.
mhm. Yeah.
Ashton, can I comment on
Yes, I
that?
was about to say, go ahead.
Points. Well, it is included in there that the degree has to be pertinent to the job. I'll address what Mr. Perryman had to say about the before hire. The only reason that was included is because we have not adhered to this policy. Certain employees, selected employees in the past have gotten, steps for their degrees. We were just trying to true this up so we could be consistent, because we've already got out of the lane on this policy. And that was the only reason for that. And I don't know any other municipality who doesn't recognize employees for their degrees. We're looking for the best people for these jobs. And that education piece is very helpful with some of these high-end jobs, so. so that's the reason for that addition and that change.
Yeah, I think like Tiffany said, if it's in pertaining to their job, it's fine with me.
I'm good with that also. If it's pertaining to their job, then I'm okay with that. Cause look, it's the same difference as if a teacher has got a bachelor's. Well, if they earn their master's while they're still teaching, well, they get a pay bump. So I mean, that's just part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I may be in the minority, but I won't support it, so I'll vote.
That's fine.
Okay. And that's, let's see, I mentioned the retirement resolution.
There's one other policy though too.
On the educational stuff?
No, on the step raises every year.
Oh, versus every other year. So they're gonna, the change would be to every year step raise. Jane?
Yes, that was the proposal.
Versus every other year. So that, you also gotta look at, I mean, it sounds good, but we have to look at the
Yes.
affordability.
Right.
But then how often do we give that COLA to, every 3 years?
I think so. It's
Cost
three.
of living's is it every 3?
No.
Or is it 5? 3 or 5?
It's
I don't
not,
think there's
it's not
a-
consistent.
Well, we've
Okay.
been pretty consistent, I think. We've been giving it pretty often though, I think.
That's in addition to these step raises.
Before, how did we, and this is not my, forgive me for looking at you, Ms. Nord, but I'm just talking. How do we, do our raises now? Is it every 2 years?
It's every 2 years, and it used to be after 10 years, you had to wait 3 years, and I'm just gonna be real honest with all of you. I don't know any municipality who waits 2 years. In the private and the public sector, it's annual raises, and I know we have problems recruiting. Yeah, I could go on and on. I feel like I'm singing the same song, but I understand it's affordable. And this is something that I wouldn't change immediately in this policy. I know you're thinking about, maybe increasing the taxes. We don't have to do this year. We could do this in the future, but I really wish you would look at that, and if I need to provide you more data, I can do that.
Is it something where we could go just every 3 years across the board?
No, you don't wanna do that.
You're going up.
You're not gonna find
But
nobody.
that's what I'm just going, all I can think about is education. That's what we get in
No, no, no,
education.
no.
Jane, I got a
This is
question.
just step
Yes, ma'am.
raises we're talking about.
I can speak to that from strictly the fire side. I mean, every fire department that I know of that does step raises, does annual step raises. That is the industry standard, as opposed to, I mean, Talladega Fire Department, the city of Talladega does annual step
But
raises.
is that no matter what, or is there an evaluation and kind of like a point system? So do they get it no matter how they've been performing? So that's what I'm asking, is
Is-
that,
Based on your evaluation.
okay, so
It currently is.
let me ask you this. How often do people not get it? Which we want people to get it.
Yeah.
Do
I'm
we
sure we'll
ever,
have to answer that.
Very rarely, I think maybe one person in my 8 years has not gotten a raise.
is the evaluation solely on HR or do the department head weigh in?
Oh, no, the department heads,
Yeah.
those are their
Okay.
evaluations, their employees.
So that makes sense, that the evaluation has to pass,
Yeah.
be up to par, or above par.
Because if you don't get a good evaluation,
And
you
that's
don't
how
get your
we're, and
raise.
that's how we're doing it now.
Mm-hmm. But it's just every 2 years instead of every year.
And
So it'd be the
again,
same process, we're just talking about a timeline.
It doesn't have to be an immediate change. We realize you've gotta get your budgets, your capital stuff, and all the things that y'all need to do.
Okay.
One other concern though too, is you're gonna have to redo your pay plans because people are gonna max out
Yeah, that's what I was gonna,
twice as
yeah.
fast.
So
And
is
you
it
had
wise?
just reduced your police pay plan from 15 down to 12,
Mhm.
so you're gonna have people maxing
So
out
is
in
it
just a
wise?
few years.
But
Is it
why
wise?
do we have to redo it, and, I mean, if you top
Well,
out,
you're
you
gonna
top
max
out.
out in just a few years, so what are you gonna do when they max out?
I mean,
That's gotta be known though, going into a job.
Yes.
Here's your top out.
I don't think you'll max out in a few years, you'll max out faster.
According to where you
Probably
bring them
closer to
in.
10 years, you'll max out 10 years rather than 25 years,
So after you max out, is that it? Like from
other
the,
than COLA raises.
That has
yes.
been it, other than COLAs, that's how we practice that.
so
With your
And
last
again, on
pay
that-
plan, you
Yeah.
increased your last pay plan from 12 or 11 steps up to 15,
let me
just
ask,
to help.
let me ask this, so after you max out, and say you got 10 more years to go, So that's what you're gonna make for the next 10 years.
Unless you get a COLA.
So there's no, I probably should know the answer to this. So there's no 2-year bonus or no 3-year bonus and nothing, there's nothing.
Unless you
else?
get promoted, like, you know, say
Yeah.
like police patrolman stays patrolman, he's gonna max out in 10 years and that's it, unless he goes to lieutenant, then it starts and over kinda, right?
That's
Yeah.
right. Unless there's a COLA
Yeah.
increase.
But they can
Or
get
promotion.
promoted.
And,
But it's
and-
hard in the, besides fire and police, it's kinda hard. Promotions aren't that available.
I just feel like it should be something else.
I'm worried that we can't afford it though.
Right,
Well,
so is it
you're gonna
smart to
double.
table that part, to see new revenue that comes in?
Well,
I think
currently,
we need to look at it
Yeah.
after we know what our fiscal year this year is gonna happen, so we can then decide for next year.
That
We
makes-
just don't know because we spent all this money that we don't have.
And we don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, that
That's-
makes,
this is
I
a
like
future
that idea.
proposal.
currently you're
Future
paying
proposal.
anywhere from 70 or 80 to $100,000 per year just for staff raises. That's
we-
gonna double. So
We
you're
would
talking
like to,
200,000.
if you don't do it, go ahead and vote the every other
Well, it's
year,
not
at
gonna-
least let's do it on the employee's anniversary date. We've got some employees that have to wait 8 to 10 months before they get that raise to the next fiscal year. But we'd like to see the employee get it at the time that they make their second year, or they make their 20th year, or they make whatever the year is. Let's get it on the anniversary date rather than,
But it's not gonna double. It's not gonna double in a year. It'll just be every year consistently. So the
Well-
amount won't double.
Yes, you're going from 70 or 80,000 per year to 200,000 if you're giving everybody a step raise every single year.
And it's also compounded, because every time you adjust it,
It's
it's now
going up even that much
going
more.
up that much more.
So we need to table it, see how much revenue we actually have.
Because not,
so we can
not
afford it.
everybody's getting that, the same, they're not on the same 2-year cycle,
Right.
right? Some getting it this year, some getting it next
But so it's
year.
not gonna double, it's just gonna increase.
By
That-
70, by
that
70
year,
or $100,000, and then.
Because we're still
exponential.
giving somebody something every year, right?
Yes,
So it's
half
not
of
gonna,
them,
it
half of them
shouldn't
one year,
double.
half of them the next.
Oh.
You're combining
Oh,
and giving
so it is
everybody
gonna
one,
double.
yes.
And at the same time, we still have to figure out a way to pay for the police plan and other things we haven't even done.
But this
yet.
is groundwork that we have in place to act on when we're ready.
Well,
Correct.
put some,
Yeah.
well, put some notes on it, because
Yeah,
you're
we've
gonna
got to
have
get,
to, you're gonna have to consider, adding some steps too, or if you're even gonna do that, because if we do this every year, like she said, and people start maxing out, they may get bored and they're not gonna make any more money and leave.
So,
We should look at this in July, August as part of putting together the 2024 budget starting in October.
So.
I
this-
think that'd be the smart thing.
I think
to do.
that's
Steve wants to say
reasonable.
something.
That's-
Will this
very
be
reasonable.
also like departments that are getting
Entities.
appropriation from the city?
I think so.
Cause our appropriation is based off the salary of our full-time employees.
Yep.
yeah, it would
Because the
go down.
library is too. So Kim, put on that paper. This, they're gonna have to consider, adding some steps too, and that'll probably be.
We gotta fix the maxing out part.
And that's what you just fixed in 2022,
But
by
if
increasing
we-
it up to 15 steps. To help with that.
Yeah, but if we do this, we only
Yeah,
15
you're
more.
going back.
Okay, so that'll be, you know, y'all feel free to get with Jane on your own if you want and recommend your stuff and tag all of us in it, whatever the case may be, so we can get a solid foundation on this to pull it off the shelf and ready to act on it.
Ashton, can
Uh-huh.
I just round back up about the anniversary date thing, how do y'all feel about that?
I'm good with it, I
It's
mean, it
the
makes
same-
sense.
It's the same money, they just gonna get it on their anniversary date.
Exactly.
I don't think that matters, like.
I don't
Not an
have,
issue.
I don't
Yeah,
have a
think-
problem
not-
with
It
that.
doesn't matter, I'm
Like,
saying, I don't think that should be a problem,
Okay.
cause it's not gonna really, it's still the same
the
money, we're just
anniversary
gonna
date.
give it to you on your anniversary.
Just somebody's gonna have to keep up with it.
Yeah, and that would be the department head.
So will they get it on that day, or just that, whatever that pay period, they'll get on their check for that
They
pay
have to
period?
have
the
that
department head
evaluation
should
to
keep up
go
with it.
with that.
Oh, so that
And
means
is
the
the
department
evaluation
heads,
time
They
for
will,
that?
and they still have to do the evaluation, so
it'll
whether,
just be scheduled.
exactly.
So the policy needs to be that it's timed with the evaluation, so if the evaluation's not done, it's not due.
Mm-hmm.
And,
But they also are responsible for knowing the hire date, so they can get the evaluation done in order to get the raise or not.
So maybe, they need
schedule
to
it that way.
All
send
that can
something
be
out,
put
yeah.
together for them.
And then that way, if it's not done, we can blame the department head.
There you go.
Well,
Cause
they're
anniversary
gonna
date's not gonna
blame
change.
you. I mean, you know, that's what
And
they're
it's
supposed to.
it's the anniversary date of the first hire or the movement into that position?
If you're promoted into a position, that's the new
becomes
date,
the new hire date.
yes.
Okay.
So then if they've never been promoted, it'll just be the first day on the job.
Correct.
Okay.
So that is all I have. Anybody else got anything to add right now? I feel like I'm missing something. Reed, we need to talk about the animal shelter. And you know, we had the Auburn plan as guidance, and the idea is to look at the guidance they gave us on the animal shelter manager position, going to 47 manager.
Yeah, it was a little over 47. I don't
47
have
and some
exact numbers.
change was their recommendation. And in order to get the person that we don't have and we need right now, you know, I think there are some applicants, right?
Yes.
For both assistant and manager?
Help me with the assistant, I'm not sure about that
Assistant,
one.
I know we have one applicant, I don't know. if we
So
have
there's applicants for both at the $30-something thousand current salary. So do we go forward and interview them, go the process, or do we go ahead and make that move based on the Auburn plan to bump that to a 47 and some change
But
salary?
if we already have some,
We need to make sure we're interviewing for people expecting a higher compensation, because we may miss out on people who would have taken the job if they'd known it paid more.
Yeah.
We'd rather qualified candidates.
I agree with that,
how
Lee.
far is the how much is the increase?
It's
from
like
what-
10,000 or more.
Yeah.
Well, it's not budgeted either.
Right.
But
We
with that,
posted that job 3 times,
Okay.
Well,
and we're not getting anywhere with that pay.
I usually don't get into animal stuff or baseball stuff,
Yeah.
but
We
It
gotta
needs-
have a legit manager in that position.
Yeah.
but can we meet it halfway?
I
Instead of,
wouldn't.
going
I mean,
up
I
the
would
whole
recommend. I would recommend going. I always like concrete evidence, concrete. You know, based on what's we paid
facts.
Auburn to do.
Yeah,
35 is just not enough for us.
and not for that, not for what they have to do. I mean, you're over a building
but
and
if you
over
do the
people.
40 though, and I'm scared to say what
But you're not gonna get anybody willing to do it. on
Yeah,
long
that's,
term
that is
basis.
7 days a
40,000.
week.
And
that person works
Reed,
7
is
days
it?
a week.
It's
What's the
just-
timetable
it'll have
on like, hey, we've got to have somebody in this position or it's gonna go downhill?
Jane, if we use Auburn's recommended numbers in the exempt position,
Yes.
okay, so there's
Yeah.
there's no overtime at that range, and there might be overtime at the lower range.
Is it, should it be an exempt or non-exempt? I mean, which one?
yes, it would be in the beginning,
Yeah, is there gonna be?
Do they hire and fire? Or does Reed do that?
Absolutely. That's why we're paying them the higher
They do
wage.
hire or Reed hires? In the job description it is?
We may need to go ahead and talk about having this as a standalone.
Department.
They need to
Taking
have
it out of
authority.
Reed.
That much, we may have some people that wanna leave the jobs they got now and go work at the animal shelter.
Yeah, but there's certain credentials they have to be that manager also.
But having an exempt position will actually save us money in overtime, and it may raise up to hitting that higher number anyway,
Mhm.
if they legitimately have hiring of management authority. So, if it's gonna cost us almost that much anyway, and we get a better qualified candidate,
It's worth it.
Can we?
I think we can find one.
Can we add that on the agenda to, if we're in agreeance to, in accordance to Auburn's pay plan, bump that, the animal shelter manager to the 47, whatever that specific number is?
I don't know if you would need to put it on there or not, just,
It's just,
You just need a verbal agreement.
well, when you hired, you set the pay.
It comes
Okay.
part of that.
reclassify the position to.
so it's just known
Is
that
that
we,
legit,
We
Win?
have
We just
to
have to
set
find
it.
out.
Win agrees, I agree with that.
I
Well,
think
are
that's
we
part of
going to
it.
make this a standalone
But I mean, I'm
department?
not,
That's part of
I don't
this.
know,
Well,
that's a
up-
lot.
up
For the
to, that
position.
doesn't mean he has to spend it all.
Yeah.
Can
For
we,
the
can,
posting, we'd have to have some kind of salary to put with it.
well, can y'all not
Find
just,
a better candidate.
can we not put the salary with it and then we'll worry about the standalone department once we get somebody?
So is the 47
Yeah.
starting
Can we
pay,
do
that's
that?
what you're saying?
Give me one second.
I said, let's worry about the standalone department later.
Okay.
We've got more pressing matters
Yeah, if we
to
get
get somebody in that
somebody
spot.
hired, then we can come back to that, just like we're gonna come back to this
Okay,
other.
that's fine.
Cause I imagine that'll take a load off you as well, having a manager over there, so. Yeah. Okay, any department heads, anything else? Y'all good?
Cassie went and
Yeah.
run to grab you something
Make
for
sure
the
I'm getting
animal
that
shelter.
number for you.
I was gonna get the current scale.
Okay.
Over 2 minute, AO8.
Not enough, but I think we can
That
get
was,
some
that's the
more.
starting
And
number.
Philip keeps promising us.
That's the manager line
We should
usually.
be able to-
Well, it's not currently,
It's a nine.
it would be a
Just
9,
general
okay,
operations
I'm
of the
sorry.
animal shelter.
So that would be the recommended rate there.
I don't think
I need
such
that.
promises.
So their recommended rate is starting out at
I wanna get the
AO9.
exact number from Auburn
The
and see
manager
where it
will be
falls.
51,236.
Well, we need to make that conditioned on getting some funding from Talladega County.
That's
or
right.
something
But
like
that's
that.
gonna, will that not be based on the educational that they have for that position? So I think
I
there's some
think so. You're gonna pay
certifications
somebody
that they
that
have
much.
to, there, well, there's some,
They gonna have to have
well, there's some
somebody for it.
certifications you gotta have for the manager, correct, Reed?
You got an amount of time to get certified in that job description. You got 24 months to get your CET, there's several.
Yeah.
You got the time range.
So is it just a certification or is it some actual, like some,
What all is that
They-
in time?
they
It
do.
Reed?
depends on if you got any
Be able to
experience,
utilize
any work experience in that field.
Animals.
It's the only way.
That's what, yeah.
What is the job description required? Does it require a degree?
I do not believe it requires a degree. I think it is, if I'm not mistaken, 10 years plus they have to get the certified euthanasia technician certification, I wanna say there's something else. Give me 1 second, I'll pull it.
It's 24 months to get CETs.
and we want somebody who's already has that?
That's part of that's on the job description.
How much does it cost to get a CET?
200.
$200?
But the
For
job
a year.
description is you have to have it, but you're allowed the grace period of 24 months to obtain it.
That's-
So we can hire somebody without it as long as they
Right.
get it in 24
You
months.
can hire somebody
And the
without
city
it.
pays for that.
So we're gonna pay them to pay them 51, so we're gonna pay them to get the certification?
It's to pay the $200
Yeah,
for
we
the
pay for all of the city, all the certifications that
Most people are
employees get.
employed to maintain their certification.
But he just said they don't have to have it to get hired.
But if they don't get it in 24 months, it's grounds for termination.
We go ahead and usually send them.
And it's not, they only do that once a year,
Okay.
unless things have changed.
But it's conditional, you said.
That's more than what you pay for.
Okay, it's a minimum of 3 of the following combinations in education. 6 years of experience with a bachelor's, 8 years of experience with an associate's, or 9 years of experience high school with GED certification. Degrees must be qualifying programs related to animal behavior, veterinary science, biology, environmental science, zoology. Certifications or licensing must be in a qualifying field of those same degrees. Field experience is required to be related to animal care, behavior, and education. So you have to obtain a euthanasia technician certification within the first 24 months of hire and maintain it thereafter. And several other, age requirements and scores on the civil service board exam. So that was the main thing. So educational stuff's in and out.
That's more than we pay our first responders, and I know it's important, but I just think that's a lot, so.
I was gonna say, when you said the Auburn plan a while ago, are you paying everybody with Auburn plan, or
No,
Oh, it's
So
fine.
that's why, cause
are you picking and choosing?
That sums up all I got for the work session. Anybody, unless department heads, anybody got anything?
Where do we stand with the, city clerk and Mike's job? Like, where do we stand? Are we gonna schedule
We're waiting on that
interviews?
education policy.
Okay.
If we wanna schedule an interview, we need to schedule it
Yeah,
right
we
now.
Yeah.
do that next week,
next week or next meeting?
next week.
Next
That
week.
way by the next meeting, they can,
We could have this educational policy in
Yeah.
place next
Yeah.
meeting and act on it, but we need, if we're gonna interview,
is
we need
Wednesday
to.
good for everybody?
Hold on.
What time though?
I get off at, the earliest I probably can be here if you do 4 o'clock.
Okay, you
If
wanna
you do
do
anything
4
about that,
o'clock?
I'm gonna have to,
You wanna do 4 o'clock Wednesday?
yeah, if that's okay.
That's fine, man.
But I wanna be here, so just let me know.
That'll work, 4 o'clock.
Is that good with you, Lee? 4 o'clock? You good, 4 o'clock Wednesday?
March 29th.
4 o'clock Wednesday. Oh,
Of the 29th, 30th, and,
So can we do it that Tuesday?
Tuesday's okay.
4 o'clock?
Tuesday, okay?
I don't think we.
4 o'clock, yeah.
I'll miss it. I hate it. I don't.
It won't take us long anyway.
I've heard some interesting
Come
stories.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
4 o'clock, Tuesday the 28th. Yep,
Gonna do them up here.
yep. I'm putting that in my calendar right now.
It's your turn. You'll pull
Besides
back
that,
the
we
deeds
stand
and-
adjourned, we'll meet downstairs for the meeting.